Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Letty. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome still. Thank you for coming and checking out today's video. So in my last video, I said that my next video would be my top 10 books of 2023, which I'll be doing at the end of the month. And I did plan on that being the next video because I thought with the holidays and stuff, I probably wouldn't do much filming in December, and I didn't really have any ideas for new videos. But then I was reading an email I got from a blog that I follow, which is called Inspired by Life and Fiction. It's actually a really, really good blog. I would definitely recommend it. It's a blog that's run by several Christian fiction authors. They all take turns, on different dates throughout the month, they each do their own blog on it. It's really good. Anyway, so I was reading a blog this past week. I believe it was Danny Petrie that was doing it, and she was talking about how she loves getting books for Christmas, and so she had a list of 12 books that that were on her Christmas wish list. And I thought that was really creative because I was like, oh, she has 12 books, the 12 days of Christmas. That's fun. So I thought it would make a fun video, but a little bit different, because instead of doing 12 books that are on my Christmas wish list, I wanted to do 12 books that I'm looking forward to that are releasing in 2024. So for this video, for the 12 days of Christmas, we are doing my top 12 anticipated releases of 2024. However, it's specifically my top 12 anticipated releases of spring and summer of 2024, because as most of you know, most of the publishers haven't released their fall and winter catalog titles yet, so we only really know what's coming out in spring and summer so far. So this video actually only goes up to July of 2024, which makes sense because, they release their titles as the year goes on. Sorry. So in this video, for the 12 days of Christmas, we are doing my top 12 anticipated releases of spring and summer 2024. And this list is going to be in order of release date from January to July. So no priorities or, what's better than others. It's just release date. Okay, now that we have the explanation out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. So the first, number one on my list, is The Divine Proverb of Streusel by Sara Brunsvold. It is releasing in January from Revell. And I'm so excited about this one because Sara Brunsvold, if you guys know her, she released her very first book this past year in 2023, and that was The Extraordinary Deaths of Mrs. Kipp, and it was so good. I loved it so much. It was so good. And that was her first novel. So I'm so excited for The Divine Proverb of Streusel because I have a feeling that it's going to be great. The next book, number 2 on the list, is A Season of Harvest by Lauraine Snelling and Kiersti Giron, also in January, but this one is from Bethany House. I'm excited for this one because I've read the first 3 books in the series, and this is the 4th book in the series. And if some of you remember, I don't remember how many months ago it was, but in my reading wrap-up, I mentioned this video. Yeah. The 3rd book in the series is Fields of Bounty. It's the Leia's Garden series. And I don't remember when it came out. It came out earlier this summer, I believe. And when I read it, I thought it was the last book in the series, and I did not give it that great of a review because I felt like it just left things so open-ended. And it left things so open-ended that I was like, this cannot be the last book in the series. So I started Googling it, and both author websites and Bethany House only had the 3 books listed. They hadn't announced the 4th book yet. So I was like, oh man, it must be the last book in the series. How could they leave it so open-ended? So I gave it not a very great review because I didn't feel like it concluded anything. But then sure enough, 2 or 3 months later, they announced the 4th book, and I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense, because where it left off in the 3rd book, I was like, what? So I am looking forward to in January reading the 4th book with the assumption that this will be the last one. Who knows? They may announce another one. But hopefully this one concludes their story. I'm looking forward to it. I do want to know what happens with the last two sisters. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. The third book is Embers in the London Sky by Sara Sundin. It releases in February from Revell. I am so excited about this one. I love Sara Sundin so much. I don't know if you can see him, several of her books up here on my shelf. I have several more in ebook. And her last 3 books, When Twilight Breaks, is that it? Yeah. Oh, they're not in order. Here. When Twilight Breaks, Until Leaves Fall in Paris, The Sound of Light, those have been just above and beyond even her previous books. They've been so good. Until Leaves Fall in Paris, is my absolute favorite book of hers. It's so good. And so I'm really looking forward to Embers in the London Sky. I just think it's been great. I will admit, I don't love this cover as much as some of her other covers. And I think it's just... I mean, it's not important because I know the book's going to be great. But, as far as covers go, I think it's the red, it's trying to depict the actual embers in the sky from the bombs falling. And it just looks a little, fake to me. Which makes sense because I wouldn't want pictures of actual bombs. But, I don't know. Just compared to some of her other, things, like When Twilight Breaks or Until Leaves Fall in Paris. I don't know if you can see them both. I don't know. They just look pretty realistic. I mean, even When Twilight Breaks, she's a journalist, and if you've looked closely, you've got, rioting kind of in the background. But it still looks pretty, realistic. And we have The Sound of Light, too. I don't know, it looks real. This could be a real picture that was taken, other than, the script in the back of When Twilight Breaks, things like that. And so, I don't know, the Embers in the London Sky, I don't know, it just looks a little CGI to me. So I don't love it as much. But even still, I'm super excited for the book. And that's just me being nitpicky. I'm so excited for the book. I know it's going to be great. So, plus, February is when my birthday is. And she always releases a book in February. That's her month to release books. Her last 3 books were all released in February. So it's kind of I kind of consider the new Sara Sundin book to usually be my birthday book. That's the one I read on my birthday. So anyway, number 4 is All My Secrets from Lynn Austen. That's also in February. And this one is from Tyndale. So I am looking forward to All My Secrets. Lynn Austen is one of those ones that I've read some really good books from her, and I've also read 1 or 2 books that I didn't love from her. She's a very slow author. I kind of consider her and Laura France in similar categories in the fact that they're both very well researched in their historical settings. I love their research, but they're also major slow burns. Their stories are always very, very slow, which I don't mind. I like slow stories when I'm in the mood for them. I can be a mood reader for sure. And so sometimes I'm in the mood for something light and fun and quick. And so I know that when I'm in that mood, I cannot read Lynn Austen or Laura France because I'm I'll just get bored. But when I'm in a more thoughtful mood, both of those authors, they can make me really, really happy. And so All My Secrets, I'm really excited for because it's set in the Gilded Age, and it's a family drama with multi-generational women in the family. So I think that one will be really good. I'm excited for that one. I like Gilded Age stuff, so yeah. I'm excited for this one. I think it should be good. Number 5 on the list is If the Boot Fits by Karen Witemeyer. This one comes out in March, and it's from Bethany House. So If the Boot Fits is a continuation in Karen Witemeyer's fairy tale retellings, which all of Karen Witemeyer's books are set in Texas in the pioneer days. And so she's giving these fairy tales kind of a historical Western twist, which can be fun. The first book in her series, which is, I can't remember the name of it right now. It's on my shelf back here. Yeah, I don't remember the name of it, but it's a Snow White retelling. This one is a Cinderella retelling, but this one is going to be a gender bend, so it's a Cinderfella retelling. I'm excited for it. I didn't love the Snow White retelling, but I also don't really love Snow White. I like Cinderella a little bit better. I still don't love Cinderella, and I think for me it's just like the nostalgia factor, because I grew up, there are 4 kids in my family. There's me and my sister, and I have 2 brothers. And so growing up, when we were little and we were, watching TV or movies, our parents a lot of times told us, we had to choose something that all 4 of us would enjoy. So my brothers obviously didn't want to watch the princessy love stories, the Cinderellas or the Snow Whites. So a lot of the movies that I watched growing up, we did watch, the princess movies. My sister and I watched Cinderella and Snow White and all of that. It's just, we didn't watch them all that often. More often we had Robin Hood and Peter Pan and Mulan. My brothers liked Mulan. And they were okay with The Little Mermaid because it was like the ocean. We all love the ocean. But The Little Mermaid was about as princessy as they got. So we didn't watch like Cinderella and Snow White all that much. And so for me, and being an ISFJ as my personality type, like nostalgia is a very important thing to me. Like I go off nostalgia a lot. So for me, I love Peter Pan and Robin Hood and Mulan a lot more than I love Snow White and Cinderella. So, of course, those ones would be a little bit harder to do retellings. I mean, there's lots of Robin Hood retellings, and I am always down for a Robin Hood retelling. It's a little harder to make like a realistic Peter Pan retelling. It's probably pretty dark if you make it realistic. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. The point is that, so I don't love the fairy tales that she's choosing to retell all that much, but I'm still excited to see what she does with them, and they're still classics. So, yeah. I am excited for the boot fits. If the boot fits. Yeah. Number 6 on the list is A Noble Scheme by Roseanna M. White. This one also comes out in March, and it is also from Bethany House. So A Noble Scheme is the second book in, I forget the name of the series. I have the first one back here as well. I think. Yeah, A Beautiful Disguise is the first one. It's the Imposters series. That's what it is. It's the second book in the Imposter series, which is about, the first book was about a high society brother and sister who run a kind of private eye detective agency for the aristocrats. Because they're high society, I think the brother is like an earl, I think. Something like that. Yeah, I think he's an earl, and he and his sister, when their father died, he left them with a lot of debt, so they run a detective agency anonymously where they basically infiltrate high society events because with him being an earl and her sister, they can, and so they do investigations of the upper class, but they do it anonymously, so nobody knows it's them. So this second book is about their 2 partners in the firm. So that one should be really exciting, and I am excited for it. The 7th book is The Elusive Truth of Lily Temple by Joanna Davidson Politano. It comes out in April from Revell. I'm pretty excited about this one. I've only read one Joanna Davidson Politano book before, and it was good. This one, I've seen it all over Instagram and stuff as people kind of hype it before it comes out, but I haven't really paid much attention to it until last week when I actually stopped to read the back cover ad, and then I was like, oh, that looks really good, and I got excited for it all of a sudden. So I was like, actually no, yeah, I gotta read this book. So that's number 7 on my list. Number 8 is The British Booksellers by Kristy Cambron. It comes out in April, and this one is from TNZ Fiction, which is, what is that? It's TNZ. I'm pretty excited for this one, tentatively. I'm tentatively excited because I've read a few Kristy Cambron books, and they've been kind of hit and miss for me. I read The Italian Ballerina this year, And it was so, so good up until the end. The end crushed my soul. That's all I'm going to say about it because I don't want to spoil it if you haven't read it. It was to me heartbreaking. And so I like happy endings. So it makes me a little nervous for the British booksellers, but the back cover looks so intriguing. It's about like two exes that become rival booksellers across the street from each other right before, I don't know if it's World War I or World War II because I haven't looked at it in a minute. It's either World War I or World War II, but then so the war comes and it affects their bookshops and their book selling, and it might be World War II because I think that the Blitz, well, actually England was bombed in both World War I and World War II, so yeah, it could be either one. I think that the bombings have an effect on it, if I recall correctly. It's been a minute since I read this back cover, but I'm looking forward to it. It just looks so intriguing, and I'm a little tentative. I'm a little scared because I like happy endings and I don't want any heartbreaking endings, but it looks so good. So yeah, I'm excited for it. It's on my list. It made my list. Number 9 on my list is Loyally Luke by Pepper Basham. It comes out in May and it is also from TNZ. I am so excited for Loyally Luke. Authentically Izzy and Positively Penelope were both major 5-star reads for me this past year. I love them both so much. And even from the beginning, in Authentically Izzy, I remember texting my friend and being like, I hope Luke gets a story because he's like my favorite character. I love Luke so much, and I'm so excited for his story. And that's all I'm going to say. Like, I just can't wait. Number 10 on the list is Born of Gilded Mountains by Amanda Dykes. It comes out in June, and it is from Bethany House. This one looks really good, and I just have to say, like, I love Amanda Dykes' writing style. She writes so lyrically and poetically. I mean, like, the synopsis, the back cover ad looks good on its own, but even without it, like, her writing style is a story in itself. Like, she just writes so beautifully and so lyrically, and reading her books is unlike any other books. Like, it's just so unique. So I'm really looking forward to that. Number 11 on the list is Meeting Her Match by Jen Toreno. It comes out in July from Bethany House. This is the third book, and I want to call it her Matchmaker series. The first book in the series was the very first Jen Toreno book I ever read. I loved it so much. The second book, To Spark a Match, I read just last month. So, you know, if you guys want to know my opinions on that, I just posted that video a couple weeks ago. The third book is one of, the girl in the third book actually was featured pretty heavily in To Spark a Match, so we got to meet her there. So I'm looking forward to her story. That is coming out in July. 12, the last book on my list, is Until Our Times Come by Nicole M. Miller. It comes out in July from Revell. This one looks so good. And actually, I originally had The Seamstress of Acadie by Laura France on this list. And then because I have this goal to slowly work my way through Laura France's bibliography because I like her writing. But again, like Lynn Austin, I have to be in the mood for it because she's a very, very slow burn kind of writer. And so I had The Seamstress of Acadie on this list because I'm working my way through Laura France's bibliography, so that's her new release. But then I read the back cover for Until Our Time Comes, and I was like, this book has got to go on my list. And so it knocked Laura France off my list. Laura France moved to number 13. Like, I'm sorry, but this book looks so good. And it's a debut author, which means that this is Nicole M. Miller's very first book. And I'm so excited for it. It takes place in Poland during World War II, and it's about this guy that gets this, like, British agent to help her move all these thoroughbred horses to safety, like evacuate them when the Germans take over Poland, because she doesn't want these, like, thoroughbred Arabian horses to get conscripted by the German army. So they're like moving them. And I think it's based on like a true story. It looks so good. That's all I can say. I'm really excited for this one, and I can't wait to support this new author. So, okay. Those are all 12 of my top 12 anticipated 2024 releases for spring and summer, which is a really long title, and I'm going to have to figure out how to put this title on my YouTube channel because I feel like it's kind of wordy as it is, but we'll see. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. Thank you for always sitting here and listening to me ramble, because I know I ramble a lot. And so thank you for all your support, and I will not see you again until after the holidays when I have my top 10 of 2023. No more surprise videos because I'm getting ready for the holidays. And so I really, really hope that you and your family and your friends all have wonderful, wonderful holidays, and I hope that the Lord blesses you as this year ends and as we move into a new year. Thank you so much for all your support this year.